As to the origin of the present Jews in Palestine, he states that those Jews derived from Eastern Europe, and many of the Jews that today live in the reconstituted state of Israel come from Eastern Europe, are not descendants of the Judeans or the lost tribes of Israel, but rather descendants of the Khazars. Who are they? They were a nation most people do not even know of. He writes, the so-called self-styled Jews in Eastern Europe in modern history cannot legitimately point to a single ancient ancestor who ever set even a foot on the soil of Palestine in the era of Bible history. Research also revealed that the so-called or self-styled Jews in Eastern Europe were never Semites, are not Semites, now nor can they ever be regarded as Semites at any future time by any stretch of the imagination.
People here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country people are criticizing Israel, then they are anti-Semitic.
What secret, mysterious power has been able for countless generations to keep the origin and the history of the Khazars and the Khazar kingdom out of the history textbooks? Did you ever learn about it in school? I never learned about it.
In a world that often seeks to erase or distort our history, it is crucial for us to reclaim the narratives that shape our understanding of identity. For too long, the true history of the Hebrew Jews has been obscured, particularly their undeniable connection to Black heritage. Understanding this lineage not only affirms our identity as a people, but also sheds light on the complex interplay of race and religion that has shaped modern society. The origins of the Hebrew Jews can be traced back to the ancient tribes of Israel, the majority of whom were people of color. Archaeological and historical evidence consistently demonstrates that the ancient Israelites were predominantly of African and Middle Eastern descent. The richness of their culture was steeped in the traditions and histories of that region, reflecting a diverse and vibrant community. However, the historical narrative shifts dramatically with the rise of the Khazars, a nomadic Turkic people who established a powerful empire between the 7th and 10th centuries in what is now modern-day Ukraine and southern Russia. The Khazars were known for their chaotic and tumultuous reputation, a realm characterized by shifting allegiances, cultural blending, and political strife. In a significant yet often overlooked historical event, the Khazar elite converted to Judaism, creating a complex intertwining of Hebrew identity with Turkic origins. This conversion did not signify a mere change in religious belief. It altered the course of Jewish identity. As the Khazars adopted Judaism, they aligned themselves with the cultural and religious practices of the Hebrew Jews, while simultaneously asserting their own identity. Over the centuries, many of the Khazars assimilated into surrounding populations, transforming into a group that would eventually contribute to what we recognize today as Eastern European Jewry. It's important to note that this transformation was not without consequence. The migratory patterns and assimilation led to a complex layering of identities that obscured the original roots of the Hebrew Jews. As the notion of a chosen people became intertwined with racial identity, the original Black heritage of the Hebrew Jews began to fade from collective memory. Many today may not recognize that the Hebrew people were historically Black, as cultural shifts and strategic narratives constructed a new identity that distanced itself from its African roots. Fast forward to modern times, and we see remnants of that identity struggle. The emergence of the Khazars as a significant influencing force on what would become the Ukrainian and broader Eastern European population complicates our understanding of Judaism. This history highlights the chaotic nature of identity formation and the power dynamics at play. The Khazars' lasting legacy has influenced contemporary Jewish identities, often overshadowing the true and diverse origins of the faith. As we reflect on this history, it becomes clear that acknowledging the Black roots of Hebrew Jews is not just a matter of historical record, it's a reclaiming of identity. This recognition allows us to understand that the complexities of racial and cultural identities are deeply intertwined. we must encourage conversations that honor our shared histories, reinforcing the idea that identities are not static, but constantly evolving. Understanding where we come from is critical for shaping our future. In a society that often seeks to erase or ignore the histories of marginalized groups, we must stand firm in our knowledge of the past, the true narrative of the Hebrew Jews, their Black heritage, and the influence of the Khazars, and their subsequent evolution into modern Ukrainian identity must not be lost. It is our duty to ensure that we remember and honor this history as we move forward, embracing the richness and diversity that is part of our collective identity. Through education and awareness, we can pave the way for a future that honors our heritage and promotes unity among all people of color.